Can you believe this? Buckets of polyethylene powder are poured into molds. After undergoing rotational molding, a PE kayak takes shape. Today, we'll learn in detail about the production process of polyethylene kayaks. Cut the bag in half with scissors. Take the right amount of polyethylene powder and pour it into the drum, mixing it with the existing material. Polyethylene powder, commonly called plastic, is referred to as P1. Here, polyethylene powder is used, not the pellets available on the market. So there's no need for grinding. It just needs to be mixed evenly with the existing materials in the drum. Once mixing is complete, it's time to weigh it. A single color won't look appealing. So we add the right amount of red P1 powder. The weight must match the previous yellow P1 powder. Then, add the right amount of green P1 powder to enhance the kayak's aesthetics. These 4 buckets of material are all we need for this production. Prepare to install screws and components on the rotational mold. Rotational molds require screws for reinforcement. This mold is no exception. Once all the components are installed, it's time to load the material. First, pour the red polyethylene on one end. The yellow polyethylene is placed on the other side. A small detail, the worker always wears a dust mask. Does it smell that strong? The green is placed in another mold. First, spread the polyethylene evenly. There are no strict requirements, just roughly even. Then, close the mold tightly with the cover. The other part of the mold also needs to be tightly sealed. Now, use screws for reinforcement. This prevents materials from hardening outside during rotation. This little wrench is really handy. A quick twist and the screws are tightened. Once the final screw is tightened, it's time to start rotational heating. Push the mold into the rotational molding machine with some force. This large machine in front of us is the rotational machine. The kayak is formed inside. To prevent materials from falling during rotation, these reinforcement steps are essential. Finally, place the cover on top, and the machine is ready to start. Inside the machine, the mold rotates. This allows polyethylene to cover every part of the mold. At this point, the machine's internal temperature should be around 200 degrees. The temperature inside the mold is around 130 to 180 degrees. Excessive heat can damage the material. To make it easier for everyone to observe, I'll fast forward this part. This is what it looks like. The front and back ends keep raising and lowering. At this point, the polyethylene inside the mold should be softening and bonding. This marks the completion of the heating stage. To prevent the mold from shifting or shaking, a positioning pin is added, similar to a piston valve. Next, remove the fixed parts one by one to prepare for extraction. I must remind everyone here, this rotational molding machine has been cooled. If you do this yourself, remember to cool it down, to avoid burning your hands. In most cases, air cooling sets the shape faster. The screws now need to be removed again. Through the holes, you can observe the polyethylene forming process. Once cooled and set, the mold cover is removed. What you see now is the formed product. Because multiple materials were added, the gradient color looks even more appealing. The sturdier part in the image is the green section, which also stands out. It also has a gradient color. However, the two separated parts cannot function as a kayak yet. So the excess edges need to be trimmed to facilitate assembly. Special tools are used to scrape off the plastic along the edges. Then, handles are installed to make it easier to carry. After all, such a large kayak can only be carried to the water's edge. A disc-shaped mold is placed at the center position. Lines are drawn. Next, the center part is cut, roughly into a circular shape. Preparation begins for installing circular components. No part can be left out. The installation position should be inside the cockpit. There aren't many parts, so the process isn't very complicated. But a two-piece boat still needs to be walked around. The final connection is now prepared. Here, metal steel is used for extra strength. This ensures it won't break apart during rowing. However, one crucial part is still missing: the paddle. Without it, you can't row the boat. The demonstration is quite vivid. Here is the final form of the kayak. This concludes the entire kayak making process. This is Field Farmer Girl. Thank you for watching.